Hello and welcome to That's Football. Should Arsenal now be forced into sacking Arsene Wenger? Arsenal legend, does he deserve the sack? Is it right to do it? 10 points off 4th place, 8 points off 5th place. Top 4's gone. Top 4 used to be a standard thing. The 4th place cut for Arsene Wenger, it has gone. Is that the end of Wenger at Arsenal? We'll be discussing that. And also we've got a real exciting thing for you from La Liga that's going to hit That's Football on Sunday afternoon in relation to Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. Really excited about that. But first of all, let's talk about Arsenal. You know what? You know it's bad, Arsenal fans, when you've got Spurs fans, Manchester United fans feeling sorry for you. The last thing you want, and we had it with Moyes, is pity. You don't want pity. You feel justified in it because obviously it's a little bit of help in the way you're feeling, that other clubs feel the same way as you. But the last thing you really want, what you really don't want, is the pity. And at the moment, you're getting it. You're getting it, aren't you? 3-0 to Manchester City, I think it finished. Does it really matter? Arsenal lost, and they lost at home. The crowd are leaving. But what I would say as well is, I think just before we move on to whether Wenger should go or not, and I think Arsenal have to sack him. But as I said at lunchtime, Wenger is a legend for Arsenal. What he's done, the Invincibles, the titles he's wins, he's probably in the modern day their most iconic and successful manager ever. But I think the big mistake everyone knows that Wenger's made is that he has outstayed his welcome. He is like, well, I've turned everything down to stay at Arsenal over the years, but you stayed 10 years too long. You know, as I said at lunchtime, Messi at 48. Not everyone's going to want to sign him, but at 28, of course they wanted him because he was brilliant. And I think with Wenger, you know, it started to go wrong after the Invincibles, and he stayed on too long. And the club, I think, have honoured that. I think any other club, he would have been sacked. You know, it's not been good enough the last few years. But will they sack him or will they move him away? It's an interesting one because Thierry Henry is being mentioned, and I'm sure people would like that. I don't know. Look, all I'll say to Arsenal fans is that you've got to be very careful what you wish for, because when Wenger goes, I think he's been a great servant and a great manager, but I think the brilliance of Wenger at Arsenal was that he was getting you 4th place, picking up FA Cups, without a lot of money being spent. There's a lot of money that Arsenal generate. They make a lot of money. The most expensive ticket in the Premier League, a big ground, all the revenue that football clubs get, massive fan base. They make a lot of money, and they haven't been spending that money because Wenger's been getting by, and the board have loved him for that. Now it's starting to slip away, but the big challenge will be, will the board loosen the purse strings when Wenger goes? And I'm not convinced they will. And who comes in anyway? I mean, you know, it's not the same as when Manchester United lost Sir Alex Ferguson, but it is somebody who's run that club from top to bottom like Ferguson did at Old Trafford. When he goes, somebody's got to come in. They've got to adjust to the Premier League. They've got to understand the size of a club like Arsenal. They've got to deal with a very demanding fan base, Arsenal Fan TV and all, which I don't criticise. You know, I think the problem with Arsenal's fan base is that they believe they're a big club. And to be honest with you, you're not anymore. The table dictates that. But to the fans of that club, you're always going to be a big club. Because you know what you can be, and you know what you have been. But at the moment, the harshest thing I can say is that when David Moyes left Manchester United in the state he was, we suddenly became not a big club anymore, and we had to build back from that. And Arsenal can build back from it. But is Thierry Henry or Mikel Arteta, former players, is that not the thing that Manchester United, I think, quite rightly have avoided, which is the class of '92, the romance? Does Thierry Henry, you know, you're just getting somebody back who was a world-class player for Arsenal. And it doesn't always work out. In fact, it very rarely does. Yeah, Zidane at Real Madrid, Pep at Barcelona, but they're very different entities. Zidane's got Ronaldo, Pep had Messi. If Henry comes into Arsenal, he's got Jack Wilshere. You know, it's not quite the same, and I think that's the problem that Arsenal will face. But Wenger has got to go. I agree with that. It's just whether they'll get rid of him now or before the end of the season, or at the end of the season. And again, I think that's the risk, isn't it? Because whilst everything would say get rid of him now because it gives a new manager a little bit of time, it depends what your new manager is. Your new manager might be managing a club at the moment. It's a very weird time to sack your manager and get a new manager in, especially when Arsenal still could get into the Champions League through the Europa League. I mean, the one positive of tonight for Arsenal is that they have to throw everything everything at the Europa League now. The Premier League almost becomes reserve games because Thursday, Sunday is ridiculously hard. It is. It's a really quick turnaround, and they're going to have to just ignore it. You're not going to claw back 10 points to get 4th. You're probably not going to claw back 8 points to get 5th. So it's got to be all or nothing in the Europa League. And what a game that's going to be. Arsenal versus AC Milan. Gattuso versus potentially Wenger. We'll do that on the watch along because I think it's going to be 2 fantastic ties they are, and really, really interested to see how it works out. But from an Arsenal point of view, watch this space. Should they sack him? Will they sack him? Cal Davies, Mark, do you think Fergie would have gone downhill if he'd stayed longer than Wenger? No, I don't. I think Sir Alex Ferguson would still be winning titles now. In fact, the biggest compliment many people always said to Sir Alex Ferguson was when he was winning the titles towards the end, it wasn't the best United side he'd ever had, and he could probably have won the title with any of the top 4 teams. It was about the manager. Nick Death says his results are just not happening. He's got to leave. He's killing his legacy. And also, I think, reading into what Nick's saying there, I think he's lost the players, hasn't he? And once you've lost the players, that's it. Lucas Taylor says, leave him there. I say, look, obviously, the banter of football, the reality of football is Arsenal are never going to win the title while Wenger's there. And most fans of other clubs have known that for years. And I think even Arsenal fans have known that. But, as a non-Arsenal fan, I've known quite comfortably every year for the last 8 that Arsenal will never win the title. And, so they're not a threat. So Wenger staying in place is probably a good thing. Bravey Boy says the same. As a United fan, would love Wenger to stay. Arsenal made Man City look like Barcelona, and that's what gets me angry, says Ibrahim Shabir. Look, again, I'll just add in relation to that. Man City, again, very, very good. 3-0 up at half-time. They're going to win this title by many points, and they're going to deserve to win it. But, again, the idiocy in the press, again, I could see the tweets from big media outlets. This has got to be one of the best Premier League sides ever. No, it isn't. Well done, Man City. Really, really good season. One of the top 5, I don't think so, but certainly in the top 10 Premier League seasons ever from the title winners, which will be Man City. But they're not the best team ever. They're nowhere near it. Arsenal, I've said one already, the Invincibles are way better. The 99 United side's way better than anybody, and the 08 United side's better than this Man City team. And actually the first year that Chelsea won it, was it 06 with Mourinho? They're better as well. The reality is, this Man City team, although it ended up 1 goal gap, that's because Liverpool's defence is crap, and that rhymes, but Liverpool annihilated them at Anfield in January. They got knocked out of the FA Cup by Wigan. What league are Wigan in? They've played some good football, but they're probably just going to end up with a League Cup in the Premier League. I don't think they're going to win the Champions League either. So they'd have to win the Champions League for me to be considered one of the best Premier League sides ever, but they wouldn't even be in the top 3 anyway. So that's just media nonsense. And what I would say in defence of Wenger is, and defence of Pochettino and Mourinho and Conte and Klopp, is this. Very important question. What I notice a lot of now, even amongst the Manchester United community when I'm doing the United Stand, is if I say something negative towards Man City, I get a load of abuse. Oh, come on, stop going on about City. You've got to give Pep his dues. They're playing brilliant football. Now, I find that ridiculous. I find that actually embarrassing, but maybe that's the modern fan. That a Manchester United fan can stick up for Man City. Ridiculous. Where's your pride? But what I would say is this, in fairness to everything. Man City have played great football. They've got a very good team. That's the bottom line. But if you gave Wenger an open checkbook, Mourinho an open checkbook, Klopp an open checkbook, Pochettino an open checkbook, and Conte an open checkbook, individually, not collectively, because that would nullify what I'm trying to say. But if you took the open checkbook away from Pep and you gave it to one of those other managers, would they win the league? Because Mourinho would, Conte probably would, Klopp, I don't know, Pochettino, I don't know. Wenger with an open checkbook, would he win a title? Pep's had an open checkbook and he's won it very, very well. I think it's a massive advantage, but I don't know whether an open checkbook to the other 5 top managers would definitely mean a title. I think in Mourinho and Conte's case it would. I'm not so sure about Klopp, Pochettino and Wenger. Wenger is a joke, says Tyler. I've not seen Tyler for bloody ages. Where have you been? I haven't seen you on the live comments for ages, or on Twitter. Welcome, Tyler. Anyway, what I also wanted to draw your attention to was that Barcelona drew tonight, and we did the watch along for Barcelona Real Madrid just before Christmas, We're doing a watch-along on Sunday afternoon at 3:15 in the afternoon. We're doing Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid. Now, we'd sort of considered it. Me and Xander were talking about it. And there's a Chelsea-Man City game as well. So I think we're going to sort of cross over and maybe do a watch-along each and have 2 live streams on the channel at the same time. But I think we're trying to argue who's going to do what. Will I do Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, or will I do Chelsea, Man City? So that's to be debated between me and Xander. But Barcelona, Atletico Madrid was going to be an interesting game anyway. It's suddenly become a very interesting game because whilst Real Madrid and Barcelona are poles apart, a bit like Manchester United and Man City, it's a massive points gap. Atletico Madrid are now only 5 points behind Barcelona and they play Barcelona on Sunday. If they beat Barcelona on Sunday, there will be 2 points off the top of the La Liga leaders, Barcelona, in March. So that title is not necessarily wrapped up for Barcelona. So it's a big, big game on Sunday. Atletico Madrid versus Barcelona, 5-point gap. If Atletico Madrid win, they can be 2 points behind Barcelona. So a big game. That's going to be on the watch along. Looking forward to doing that. We'll also be doing Chelsea versus Man City because I've got a funny feeling Man City will, well, I'll talk about it in the Premier League preview that we're going to do tomorrow as well. Danny Milner wants me to do City Chelsea. And Barca will lose the league, says Michael Foley. Interesting. Subscribe, everybody, if you're new. Yeah, please do subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner icon there. And do drop a like on video. They do the double +1. This is an all-time team. Come on, man. Quit being a salty Park the Bus fan. That's Kenneth Pereira. They do the double +1. This is not an all. Oh, no, he's on about now. God, you know what? This channel is not the United Stand, so you can't wind me up and turn me into start saying negative things about Man City. I'm not going to do it on this channel because this channel is a general football channel, and I'm not going to put my that sort of favouritism on this. That's not what it's about. But what I will say to you is, if you believe Manchester City is the best Premier League side ever, you're a clown. Go on, get a nice little wig on, a big red nose, and some makeup, and some shoes that are 5 times too big for you, and some baggy trousers, and walk around with one of those bloody horns and start pipping it. Because if you think this Man City team is the best Premier League side ever, you are a clown. You are. You really are. And that's all I'm going to say. Mark, some people couldn't wait to play attacking football. What a joke, says Eldan. Kieran's having a chat with Jake about what part, I think they're going to meet up. What part of Ireland are you from? Why did you remove your best ever video? Will Bill Bittilan. Your best ever. Why did you remove your best ever video? Can you tell me what video that is? Because I'm not even sure what video that is. We haven't removed anything. Mark, I get what you're saying, but Jose has that checkbook as well, but a little behind from a top United fan, but the Josie will hunt that tenner. But Mourinho hasn't had an open checkbook. No way. No. And I don't want to talk about it from a Manchester United point of view because that's not what the point is. What I'm saying is Pep Guardiola's had an open checkbook. The football they're playing is fantastic. They are worthy title winners. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is he's had 3 world-class goalkeepers. Well, not world-class, but he's had 3 top goalkeepers. He had Joe Hart, I didn't like him. He had Navas, didn't like him. And then he's had Edison. 3 goalkeepers. You know, what other club just changes the goalkeepers like that? He's bought 19 players, I think, in under 2 years. He spent £200 million more than Manchester United, and he's bought double the amount of players. As I said, I'm not taking it away from Manchester City because they totally deserve to win the league, and I think actually the gap, they would have won the league even if they hadn't bought half the players they bought because their football is better than everybody else's. But nobody's come close to that spending. Nobody's come close to that spending at all. Nobody has that element of open checkbookness, if that's a word. Will Bitterland, when was this video removed? Because I don't know what was the video, the best whatever. I don't know. Ding ding. Carmichael says you've got to be about 12 years old if you think City are the best ever Premier League side. Yeah, I think people are getting mixed up with people. Not, nobody's. I don't think anybody's saying that Man City have luckily won this title or anything like that. I just think people are defending the fact that it's not the best Premier League side ever because it's not. Cathel says Arsenal needs a fresh and new manager if Arsenal wants to be a good club again instead of being a laughing stock. I think in relation to Arsenal, it's just a matter of when Wenger goes. And actually, should he be sacked? I don't think he deserves to be sacked. I think he should be taken into a room and said, we are going to sack you, but we're going to let you walk. You can walk, and we won't say you've been sacked. I think that's what they need to do. I think he deserves that. Danny Milner says Man City aren't making history, they're buying it. You know, there is an element of saltiness. There is there. You know, at the end of the day, they're a long way ahead of everybody else. And I do think that if he'd spent half the money he has, they still would win the league because he still inherited De Bruyne, Aguero, Silva. Look what he's done with Sterling. You know, he's made sure they were going to win the title with the money he spent, but I don't think he needed to spend as much as he did. They still would have won it this year because there's so many teams are bad. I mean, Liverpool and Spurs are probably the closest threat to them on a football pitch, and neither of those two have got managers that know how to win a title. So, where can I find the 99 versus 08 debate you had on United Stand a couple of years back, says Ragaf? I don't know. I'm a bit... Will Bitterland says the 1 o'clock video earlier today, that team with Savic and that, the team for 2008. No, that's up on the channel, mate. You've got me worried now. Let me go and have a look. That is definitely up on the channel. We've not removed that. No, I'm watching it now. It's had 17,600 viewers. In fact, go and watch it because it's nearly on 1,000 likes. Really good video. Manchester United Dream Team in 2018. Give it a watch. It's really good. It's definitely up there on the channel, mate. Definitely up there on the channel, mate. Give Robbie the job as manager. Robbie off Arsenal Fan TV. Yeah, get DT as assistant. At least it'd be entertaining. Anyway, Prajic says give Wenger a new 5-year contract. You never know with that club. You never know. Anyway, we'll be back on here tomorrow at midday with the Premier League preview. Live as ever. Weekend's looking good. We've got 2 watch-alongs for you. Man City versus Chelsea and that Barcelona Atletico Madrid. Both mid-Sunday afternoon. So we're looking forward to those. Thanks everybody for watching. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Daily content on That's Funnel, football and chat. Keep getting involved. I think as soon as we get to about 30,000 subscribers, we're going to start doing Skype shows as well, which is going to be really good. Thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you all soon. Wenger in, Wenger out. Let's see.